Here I stand at the gates of hell to tell a story not often told of a world that no longer exists. For fire and brimstone, behold, there were no heroes in this land, but rather the darkness stands. But it was chime their journey begun, once more around the sun. That's right. I thought I'd give it a good intro. That's pretty good, at least. Anyway, this time we've got a good album for you. My little friend here for assisting with that intro. He was not having it. Anyway, this is Mastodon's new album, Once More Around the Sun, as you can see. Thanks, buddy. That's very good help right there. Anyway, so I give you some history on our friends Mastodon. So Mastodon are actually an American rock band. I know those metal bands that aren't from Sweden anymore. They're actually from the US of A. They're an American rock band from Atlanta, Georgia. Early 2000 was when they formed. They're formed of bassist Troy Sanders, guitarist Brett Hines, guitarist Bill Collier, and Brand Taylor on the drums. Many of their songs are actually these huge progressive stories about unique concepts and creatures and warriors and battles and just really crazy awesome things. It's really hard to get into it without listening because they're just these deep and strange stories. They really are. That's what they started off, at least, back in early days. They have 6 albums now, so it's been some time. They formed up January 12th after drummer Brett Bran met Bill and moved to Atlanta from New York. They met Troy and guitarist Brett Hines at a High on Fire show. They discovered they had some mutual appreciation of sludge metal bands, the Melvins and Neurosis in the 70s era, as well as Thin Lizzy, and therefore formed Mastodon. In an interview in 2009, they revealed that the first time Hines attended a practice with the band, he showed up so wasted he couldn't even play. So that was how that started. I thought that was a pretty interesting intro for them. Their mutual appreciation for music brought them together, and I think that's one of the best ways for a band to start off. Because Mastodon, well, they just love metal. That's it. That's their story. They love metal together, and then they just managed to make some awesome music because of it. Any case, let's get into this actual album review. I'll make myself a little rundown here because I had a lot of thoughts on this. It's one of those things that people are really criticizing Mastodon because their early stuff is so different, and it's so out there storytelling-wise, and it's just a strange band that changed into a very mainstream metal band. So it's kind of people that are very pure and against this. Your pure metalheads will not have change. They just won't have it, right, buddy? They will not. They become mainstream, and that's not a terrible thing every time, just most of the time, let's be honest. However, it's a feat that destroys the music of a band sometimes. Metallica. They have managed to create something, though. They've managed to create mainstream music without actually losing their musical integrity. And I think that's really important because a lot of the times that's a really tough thing to do. You sell out, you get tired, I don't know, there's a lot of reasons. But here, it's interesting because they started off with these crazy concepts, and now they've sort of just moved into a comfortable zone, which in every definition of the word sounds like a terrible thing. But I don't know, they're just so good in their comfort zone that it doesn't even matter because they just jam out in such an awesome way that they're so tight precision-wise, so musically gifted, and so just amazing songwriters that it doesn't even matter that they're in their comfort zone. Their comfort zone is fun to listen to. And that actually is what makes this probably one of the most easy to go into albums. It's, not always is an album like this something you'd expect to jump right into. I mean, let's get a real good look at this. This album cover does not make you think of an album that everyone could listen to, metalheads and non-metalheads, but it is. It's actually their most acceptable, for non-metalheads, I think, personally. But it doesn't matter, so let's dive into the album. As we say, no concept, no problem. Alright, well, this starts off with a song, Tread Lightly, here on the back. Tread Lightly, it starts off quick. This song quickly answers the questions of what direction this album is going to go in after The Hunter. And it's a less polished album, immediately you notice that. The Hunter I liked, but its production was a little too polished for my taste. There's a lot more raw elements here. But the skeleton of the actual sound, as you would expect, is from the drums and the bass. They just power through and they give you the skeleton of what you'd expect of the band, and the guitar riff over the top just sets up this amazing sound. They have a great riff, great drum breakdowns, and grinding sludge vocals. They may not be pushing crazy directions, but they just get better and better with songwriting. The Motherlode, the next song on here, uses modern-day pop hooks. As much as that sounds terrible, they use hooks, not pop hooks. But you can hear it as you would say radio-style hit sound. But it does work so well because they're so good about it. They use the hook, but they use it with their own sound. They have fiery riffs. They use the unbelievable percussion that is just amazing. Brand is amazing. He really is. The choruses are huge. So as you would hear it, you sing, but you also headbang, and you know every word because it's just a huge moment like you would get with Metallica during One. You sing along to every word. It may not be that epic. It's just, you know what I mean. Any case, they find themselves in a new territory with sing-alongs, and they're very good at it. Who knew? So, the next round, The High Road, is actually one of the singles on the album. It's, again, huge vocal hooks, but it's driven by the bass and the drums again, and the intro to the song is one of the greatest riffs on the album. It just is. The verse has classic sludge before streaming and hitting this huge chorus where dual vocal harmonies, oh my god, they provide the strength of the song and a lot of the really high notes of the album. The title track, Once More Round the Sun, is an interesting song because it actually is, you know, it falls right into their comfort zone more than most of the album, but it's definable. It's, you know, not a bad thing. Like the Mother Lode, they use sort of modern day hooks in a way with huge choruses, all packed in between hammering drums and amazing guitar riffs. Then we get to my favorite track on the album, Chimes at Midnight. I really love that song. This is where it's like, to go off of your supposed like percussive sound where you're so programmed and planned is a great thing for Mastodon, because this controlled chaos that they get on this song is what makes it so awesome. The song sounds like, you know, like I said, a calculated progressive metal song with thrash, a little bit thrash thrown in, because it feels like it's a progressive song that was like a train that went off the tracks when they were writing it, and that's just the best way I could describe it, the madness of this. It's great. They give the best thrash growls on this track, and the riffs are bigger and better than ever. They sort of intertwined around each other, and I love it. It keeps the added choruses on the hooks and all the other things from previous songs, but they add in that raw chaos that adds to it. Asleep in the Deep is another great example of one of the better songs on the album because it works with the new style. It definitely is slower than the rest of it, but it has this huge build-up to a chorus, like a 3-4 minute long build-up, and it's an almost 6 minute long song, so it's a great build-up. And when it builds and it builds and it starts to growl and thrash starts to come in and the riffs get bigger, and all of a sudden when you hit this chorus, it's huge and it's great and it's glorious and it's awesome. And it throws in some of that just awesome sludge and grinding groove stuff as they get into this riff, and it's just, I love that song, I really do. And they get to the chorus and there's that dual harmonies again. Awesome. Feast Your Eyes is another one I really liked. It's got this interesting sound because it starts sludge rock sort of, but it channels the older Mastodon here. It combines it with the newer sound, I think, personally at least. It comes together into a pretty great combination. The guitars roar, the drums pound, and the harmonies are just dead on. They have been all album. Then we get to Aunt Lisa, which is as odd of a song as you'd think it would be, because when I first heard it, I swear I thought it was Dream Theater. I wasn't really listening as intently, and I heard, it's like, whoa, this is like smooth, clean vocals with intensely percussive drumming and strangely programmed guitar solos with crazy rhythm changes. Like, are we listening to Dream Theater? But it's just great because this is a style they've been shifting to slowly from sludge to progressive to heavy rock for a long time, and it fits them well, so it really doesn't really throw you off, even though they threw in a little bit of a weird punk, hey ho, let's go sort of thing in their own way. You'll hear it if you hear the song. It's still, you can forgive that line because of how good the song is. Ember City follows us through the footsteps of Aunt Lisa before it with a very progressive, different song. It's moments with guitar lines and they're just very precise, you know. It's very important that they're precise and they move around each other. Very complicated drum and guitar lines just weave around each other, and it's loud and has probably one of the best guitar solos of the entire album. And that leaves us to the final two tracks, which is Halloween, which is a very groove song with eerie vocals over the top, as you would expect from Halloween. But this song really shows off the guitar and bass, and they shine really here as they grind along. And the final song, amazing. If you haven't heard the album, at least hear this one. One of the best songs of the year. It really is. It's an absolute amazing closer for the album because it clocks in at almost 8 minutes. And the guest star Scott Kelly really gives the song a very post-metal sound, and it has a lot going for it already, so that just adds. It's one of the highlights because it combines a lot of the album's sound with this new sound. It's got precision, it's got power, it's got grind, it's got sludge, it just moves, it's got this paranoid feel that Scott brings to it, and the band sounds like they could be jamming and just having fun, and it's great. So, the album may not be what, you know, as you would say, Mastodon fans of old would love, but it's even though it's not a concept album, it's great. It doesn't tell you stories of big battles or mythological creatures, but it does make, a great album, because this is where Mastodon found their way. They made their way into the mainstream and the comfort zone, but they did so in a way that kept their music in creative modes and just songwriting at their best. The peak of their songwriting is the fact that they're so in sync with who they are right now. And that is all they really needed. They didn't need crazy stories or anything to make a great album. I'll be honest, I'd like to see them go back to that style at some point too, but for now, I'm just perfectly comfortable with them writing an awesome album with great songs. Aren't you, buddy? You don't care. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Anyways, next week, as a little bit of a spoiler, I thought I would do this. We might have something next week, something around this realm of things. Thanks for listening.